I am Mark of Upgrades Complete, and I am burdened with glorious purpose. Need more hair. Sorry. What's up, guys? President Loki horns. Very cool. Very, very, very cool tiara, I want to call it, as it's not really a crown. The horns are completely amazing. I mean, great size. They look good on this. Loki's helmet has come out amazing. If you've been following me, you know these horns. I got a couple sets of them now. In all different types of conditions, but they really don't need much in the way of cleanup, which is great. The Loki helm needs cleanup along the top where I had the supports, but really nothing in the way of layer lines that I don't feel comfortable just spray primering to fill in. But in areas that I do need to fill in, I like to use this stuff. Mr. White Putty. This is actually better than spot putty. I come from the automotive industry, and Bondo breaks. And when you're using plastic, use something that's made for plastic. And that way they bond on a more molecular level, and you don't have to worry about your paint chipping or pieces breaking off down the line. If you want a less permanent solution, and I'm going to do this on one of my Loki helmets, get yourself some of these. This is not oil twigs. Neodymium rare earth magnets. Do not, I repeat, do not buy these from Amazon. Those are not neodymium magnets. Make sure you buy them from a decent mineral supplier. I'll put a link in the bio below in the description for the site that I use. It's a couple dollars more, but honestly, the peace of mind is amazing. And these things hold rock solid and don't fall apart. Metal wire. I use this for hanging the parts for paint. I'll put it through either a hole, something like that's in Sylvie's tiara here, or as with Loki's horn, I'll put a screw in through the square, the opening where it mounts. That way I can hang them, get good paint coverage, and I don't have to worry about this stuff breaking and things falling where they shouldn't be. Now, if you want to adhere things on a more permanent level, I highly recommend Jamie Weld. This is just quick weld, two-part epoxy. This is the 6-minute set stuff, and it takes about 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours to completely dry, but it's steel reinforced. You're not breaking this. But with Loki helmets, if you're driving in a car, magnets are actually a pretty good idea for those horns. That way you can take them off and you don't break them by accident. But I had some cool things happen. I printed off one of these for my neighbor's daughter. It's a Wonder Woman tiara I did, Nick Silk Copper. It came out so nice, and the detail is just amazingly beautiful, that I decided to run Sylvie's tiara in it. I really want to see what it does, because I finished the handle sections for Mjolnir, and as you can see, beautifully flawless. All 3 parts came out like that. In fact, I have the actual hammer sending. The hammer is printing right now. That should be done in about 2-3 days. So I got a little time for that one. But what I'm going to do is take you through quickly with time edits, so you don't have to sit and watch this entire thing because it would drive me nuts. Is how to sand, how to primer, and how to paint. And hopefully it only takes 2 to 3 minutes to show you all this stuff, and I will show it to you live as I'm doing it. Now, I will not shy away from power tools, things like this, the top of Loki's helmet. And if you're doing an Iron Man build or a Mandalorian helmet where there's not a lot of surface detail, use one of those power mouse sanders. You'll blow through the whole thing in a few seconds. They're unbelievable for large parts, suits, things like that. But steel files, anything like that, and all you're doing is knocking off whatever remaining support material there is, and that we have a smooth surface. Now, I don't have much in the way of layer lines that primer itself, a good primer won't cover or fill in, so I don't think I'm going to spot putty anything here on the table. I don't have any cracks or any problems. And a heat gun is another good item to have to shape things. Like I have a Wanda Tiara or crown or whatever you want to call it, pretty flat over there, and I'll use a heat gun to shape that. But a heat gun to allow you to flex some materials while you're in the process of doing your finish work is a great idea. It's also good if you have the dimensions for somebody's head, the person's head you're making, say Loki's crown for, to make sure your side pieces are up against the cheeks, the forehead's in the right place. Measure 3 times, print twice, fail once, and you'll be in good shape. But stay tuned when we get to the important stuff, and next step is sanding. Hang on. Okay, here we are back at the build table, and as you can see, this has been sanded. I'm going to bring you around, and this one is unsanded. Now, from the outside, these looked exactly alike. From the sports, they had a little bit of marring. As you can see, that's completely gone. And for parts like this, what I like to use is these sanding sponges. You can use them wet or dry. They come in fine grit, medium grit, one on each side, and usually get them for $2 for $1 at the dollar store. So I use one of these, maybe 2 per project, depending upon the size. Like both horns in the helmet, I'll use one of these, and now I know my finish is smooth. The other benefit to sanding your parts is not just cleaning up layer lines or little imperfections like this, but it also gives your paint something to adhere to. Now, a smooth surface like this is not going to hold paint as well as a sanded surface, and that's why we take these extra steps now, so when we are done, we're going to have a perfect part. So I'm going to get the other one sanded up and hung up, and I'll show you how to paint. Okay, once you feel that you have your horns sanded down right, or whatever part you're doing, like these, I inserted a small Phillips head screw, and I wrapped some of that wire around it, and these will go around clothesline or whatever you have. If you have a paint booth, even better. But that gives me the supports where I need it. And also, another additional bonus is by putting the screw in there, it gives the epoxy somewhere to be forced into, as opposed to being forced out the edges and making a mess. Now, an important step here is once you have these things mounted and wiped down, you don't touch them again with your hands. Use some blue shop towels, as they're lint free. You'll have them for cleaning your printer, and hang them up. Now, this could be in your garage, your paint booth, or anywhere else, but space them out, decent amount. If you are doing it outside, make sure you have low humidity and indirect sunlight. And here we have them primered up. And remember, no matter what kind of attention to detail that you gave in the initial sanding process, this is going to uncover some flaws that you might have missed. But that's okay. That's why we're primering. That's why we're using sandable primer. See right there? A few layer lines. I'll sand them out, and then we'll be ready for paint shortly. And here we are after the second coat of primer and just a light sanding. They look great. So what I thought I would have to use spot putty for, no, nothing. Primer took care of it, sanding took care of the rest. All I did was wipe these down with some shop towels, and I'm going to let them sit overnight to completely dry out. And tomorrow I will take them out and we will do some paint work.
So here we are the next day, and the primer set up really nice overnight. So I sprayed it with the gold. Now mind you, I'm using an automotive based paint, but any paint that you're getting in a spray can, as long as it's of good quality, is basically the same as automotive paint. It just operates differently. Make sure you shake the cans really well, and when you come up to your edges, make sure you spray all the way over the piece so you're actually hitting into your wires and your tips. Now this is going to leave you with a nice smooth finish, and do several light coats as opposed to one heavy one, as it'll give you a better shine and a better finish. Now the only thing I'm going to do at this point, before I consider these done, is once these dry out, I will give them a light sanding, another coat of gold paint, and then clear coat them. So I really hope this helped you guys out with your painting techniques, and if you have any questions, just make sure to ask me in the comment section. Like and subscribe as always, and happy to help you.